You can't hit what you can't see, old man. Stay out of my way next time. The words sliced through the hallway just outside the Providence Municipal Courtroom. Conversation stopped. Shoes froze mid-stride. 100 tiny sounds of bureaucracy suddenly evaporated. A 19-year-old stood over a fallen 76-year-old veteran whose white cane had bounced across the polished floor. The old man's hands reached out, searching blindly for the wall he'd stumbled against. His breathing was shallow, unsteady. Henry Doyle hadn't seen the fist that struck him. He hadn't seen the young man's smirk. He hadn't seen anything at all since 1971, when a mortar blast in Vietnam took both his eyes. But even without sight, Henry heard everything. He heard the mocking laugh. He heard the retreating footsteps. He heard the horrified gasps from people who witnessed the assault but did nothing. And inside the courtroom, Judge Frank Caprio heard it too. The doors had been open while he reviewed case files. The crack of impact traveled straight into his chest like a violation of the court itself. He removed his glasses, exhaled once, and nodded to Officer Rivera. "Bring him in." What Liam Carter didn't know, what he couldn't possibly predict, was that the blind man he had just hit was not just any victim. Henry Doyle had served 3 tours in Vietnam. He had earned commendations for valor. And 5 decades earlier, in a desperate firefight, he had dragged a dying 19-year-old soldier to safety while taking the blast that stole his sight. That soldier was Daniel Carter, Liam's father, the current governor of Rhode Island. Everything the Carter family possessed existed because Henry Doyle refused to leave one terrified kid behind. And Judge Caprio knew the entire history. "Let's begin," Miss Patel said, adjusting her microphone. Her voice trembled slightly from the tension in the room. Case number 2024 CR 1194. The City of Providence versus Liam Daniel Carter. Assault on a disabled person. Contempt of court. Harassment. Resisting lawful detention. Disorderly conduct. Liam scoffed. "This is stupid. Can we get this over with?" "Mr. Carter," Judge Caprio said, his voice tight with controlled anger. "Did you assault a blind man in the hallway of my courthouse?" Liam shrugged. "He bumped into me. He overreacted. Witnesses said you punched him. People exaggerate. My dad will clear this up." Outside, the digital courtroom clock read 10:24 a.m. The cameras were recording every second. Judge Caprio lifted a file thick enough to stun someone if swung. "Mr. Carter, I have body cam footage from the street incident 3 weeks ago, hallway security footage from 10 minutes ago, your text messages, and public complaints. Would you like to explain?" "There's nothing to explain. Old people should watch where they're going." "They can't watch where they're going. Mr. Doyle is blind." "Not my problem," the gallery murmured in disbelief. Under the arrogance, Caprio recognized something else, fear dressed in bravado. Officer Kellerman, the responding officer from the earlier street incident, stepped forward. "Officer, describe February 12. "Yes, Your Honor. I responded to Westminster Street for a disturbance involving a visually impaired victim. When I arrived, Mr. Doyle was on the curb. His cane was broken." "What did he say happened?" "He said someone struck him from behind without warning." "Witnesses confirmed it," Caprio nodded. "Did you locate the defendant?" "Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Carter was nearby with friends. His response was, 'The blind guy walked into me.' Not my fault he can't see." He laughed. The gallery erupted in disgusted whispers. "Did he resist detention?" Caprio asked. "Yes. He said his father was the governor and I should document carefully if I valued my career." Then Henry Doyle rose slowly from his seat. His hands gripped his replacement cane, the one he still didn't fully trust after today's assault. "Mr. Doyle," Judge Caprio said gently, "you may speak." Henry nodded. "Your Honor, I've been blind for 53 years. Lost my sight dragging a wounded soldier out of a kill zone. I've learned every trick to survive without seeing, but I've never learned how to protect myself from cruelty." He steadied himself. "This morning I heard fast footsteps behind me. I tried to step away, but I wasn't quick enough. Something hit my shoulder hard. I fell. and then I heard laughing. "What did he say?" Caprio asked softly. "He said, 'You can't hit what you can't see, old man.'" A few people covered their mouths. Liam snorted. "Mr. Carter," Caprio snapped, "did you just snort while this man described your assault?" Liam shrugged. "He's milking it. Soldiers always do that." The courtroom went ice cold, but the worst moment hadn't arrived yet. A voicemail recording played across the speakers. Governor Carter's office urging the police department to treat the incident with appropriate discretion and avoid unnecessary publicity. Caprio looked at Liam. "Did you know about this?" Liam smirked. "My dad fixes everything." Then the side door opened. Governor Daniel Carter stepped into the courtroom, not with political swagger, not with authority, but with a grief so heavy it dragged his shoulders downward. He walked past his son without acknowledgement. "Your Honor," he said quietly, "may I address the court?" "You may." The governor faced the judge. "I owe this court an apology, and I owe a debt to Mr. Doyle I can never repay." Caprio handed him a declassified service citation. Daniel Carter read it, his breath caught. "Henry Doyle, Bronze Star with Valor, 1971. Dragged Private First Class Daniel Carter to safety under heavy fire. Sustained catastrophic injuries resulting in total blindness." Liam stared at his father. "Dad, what is this?" Governor Carter looked at him with an expression Liam had never seen, disappointment bordering on heartbreak. "When I was your age, Liam, I was lying in a battlefield ditch, bleeding out. Henry here ran into the open to save me. The mortar that blinded him should have killed me. I owe every minute of my life to this man." He turned fully toward his son. "And you attacked him twice." The silence was crushing. "Dad, I didn't know." "That's not the point," Carter said. "You knew he was blind, you knew he was elderly, you knew he couldn't defend himself, and you hit him anyway." Henry whispered. "Your son didn't hit me because of you. He hit me because of who he was in that moment." Judge Caprio leaned forward. "Mr. Carter, what did you think would happen when you struck a blind man?" "I thought he'd move." "He couldn't." "Well, then maybe he shouldn't be walking around in courthouses." Gasps spread through the room. Caprio pressed his palms against the bench. "I am ordering a sentence designed to teach you what your arrogance has blinded you to." Judge Caprio's sentencing was not just a list of punishments. It was a carefully crafted path toward accountability, humility, and transformation. Each requirement was designed to confront Liam Carter with the human consequences of his actions and force him to grow beyond the entitlement that had shaped his life. The first requirement, a handwritten apology to Henry Doyle, ensured that Liam would have to personally acknowledge the harm he caused. It wasn't a typed statement or a lawyer-drafted note, but a direct, sincere expression written by his own hand, something that would make him reflect on every word. Next, 200 hours of community service at the Providence Blindness Assistance Center placed Liam in the same world as the man he attacked. He would have to help people with disabilities navigate daily struggles he had never even considered. This wasn't punishment. It was education through real human interaction. Mandatory mobility assistance training meant he would learn how blind individuals maneuver through life, what challenges they face, and why respect and patience are essential. This training would replace ignorance with understanding. The empathy development workshop targeted his mindset, focusing on emotional maturity, self-awareness, and the ability to see beyond himself. Restitution for the damaged cane and medical examination reminded him that actions have tangible financial and physical consequences. The 3,000-word reflective essay forced him to deeply examine the themes of dignity, sacrifice, and respect, concepts he clearly lacked before this incident. Finally, the review hearing in 200 days ensured accountability, giving Judge Caprio the power to reevaluate Liam's progress and decide whether he truly learned from the experience. When Liam whispered, "Yes, Your Honor," it was the first step toward rebuilding the character he had broken. The transformation the center didn't treat Liam like the governor's son. They treated him like any unsure teenager learning how to guide people who depended on sound, touch, and trust. At first, he was terrible. He walked too fast. He forgot about curbs. He panicked at intersections. He froze when clients asked him to describe surroundings. By week 3, staff notes read, "Improving slowly, struggles with patience and awareness, not malicious, simply inexperienced." His first guided client was a 73-year-old woman named Marable. "You're stiff," she told him as she held his arm. "You're thinking too much. Blind people feel tension before they feel danger. Relax." He tried. Slowly, he improved. By week 12, Liam knew how to anticipate obstacles, warn clients about surface changes, describe intersections, navigate crowded sidewalks, match pace. To a client's gate, speak calmly, even when nervous for the first time in his life. He respected something he didn't understand. By week 16, the encounter he feared most arrived. Henry Doyle visited the center for a new cane. Liam's stomach dropped when he saw him. "Mr. Doyle," he said quietly. Henry turned toward his voice. "Liam Carter." "Yes, sir. I hear you've been working here 4 months. I finished my hours, but I kept coming. Why? Because I'm not done learning, because I hurt you. Because every day I guide someone, I think about the moment I laughed at you. I don't ever want to be that person again." Henry rested both hands on his cane. "Walk with me," he said. They moved slowly through the center, Liam guiding with practiced confidence. "You're better than I expected," Henry said. "I had good teachers." "You had a rude awakening." Liam swallowed. "I used to think blindness meant weakness. And now I think blindness requires strength most people will never understand." Henry stopped. "Good, because I didn't save your father's life because he deserved it. I saved him because I made a promise to never leave a brother behind." He touched Liam's arm lightly. "And you aren't that boy from the hallway anymore." 200 days later, Liam stood before Judge Caprio again. Different posture, different eyes, different soul. "Mr. Carter," Caprio said, examining the file, "you completed every requirement. The center reports you continued volunteering. They say you're one of their most reliable guides now." "Yes, Your Honor." "What changed?" Liam inhaled deeply. "I met people with more courage than I ever imagined. People like Marable, who lost her sight to diabetes but still takes the bus alone. James, a veteran who can't see his own children but raises them with more care than sighted parents. And Henry Doyle, who saved my father's life and forgave me even though I didn't deserve it." Henry stood. "Your Honor," he said, "may I speak?" "You may. This young man guided me last month. Not one misstep. Not one moment of arrogance. People can change." He did. Governor Carter rose next. "Your Honor, 6 months ago I walked in ashamed. Today I am proud, not of my position, not of my title, but of my son." Judge Caprio nodded slowly. "Mr. Carter, you came into this courtroom believing power made you untouchable. But dignity, compassion, and humility, those are the real measures of character." Liam swallowed hard. "I understand that now." Henry turned toward him. "I saved your father 53 years ago, and now your growth honors that sacrifice more than anything he could have done." Liam wiped his eyes. "Thank you, Mr. Doyle, for saving him, for forgiving me, for giving me a chance to become someone better." Henry smiled softly. "Just live well, son, and help others when you can." Judge Caprio lifted his gavel. "Case closed, and Mr. Carter, remember this. The only inheritance worth having is the courage to become better than you were." The gavel fell. And in that moment, the boy who once mocked a blind veteran understood that the world sees clearly, even when he didn't. Dramatization for storytelling and educational purposes. As the courtroom slowly emptied, a strange stillness lingered in the air, one that felt heavier than silence but lighter than despair. Liam Carter remained standing in front of the bench, not because anyone ordered him to, but because, for the first time in his life, he didn't know where to go. His father's influence couldn't pull him out of this moment. His last name couldn't erase what he had done. And the path ahead, carved by Judge Caprio's sentence, was no longer a punishment but a mirror. A mirror he could no longer look away from. Across the room, Henry Doyle adjusted the new temporary cane Officer Rivera had handed him. The old veteran didn't look angry, nor fearful, just quietly strong, as if life had already taught him every lesson Liam was about to learn. For a second, Henry paused before leaving and turned slightly in Liam's direction. Their eyes didn't meet. Henry couldn't see him, but Liam felt the moment like a weight pressing against his chest. A moment filled not with hatred but with an unspoken challenge. Become better than what you were today. Judge Caprio watched this silent exchange, his expression unreadable but steady. He knew justice wasn't just about punishment, it was about change. As he gathered his files, he offered one final look at Liam, an unspoken warning but also a doorway toward redemption. And as the courtroom doors closed behind him, one truth echoed louder than the gavel. What Liam Carter did would follow him forever, but what he chose to do next would define him. As the officers guided Liam toward the hallway, he suddenly stopped, sensing something, someone standing just behind him. A quiet breath, a presence he couldn't ignore. Slowly he turned. Henry Doyle was there, not close enough to touch him, but close enough for Liam to feel the weight of his silence. The blind veteran lifted his chin slightly, as if searching the air for the truth Liam hadn't yet spoken. The entire hallway froze. Even the officers paused. Henry's voice, soft but unbreakable, cut through the tension. "You think this is over for you, son?" he asked. Liam swallowed hard. I don't know." Henry nodded once. "Good. Because neither do I." Before Liam could respond, a court clerk rushed out, whispering frantically into Judge Caprio's ear. The judge's expression shifted, tight, urgent, concerned. He looked directly at Liam. "Stay where you are. Something new just came in, and everything changed."